You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Start fast with Fast Twitch, a game-changing energy drink from Gatorade. As an official partner of the NFL, Fast Twitch is formulated with 200 milligrams of caffeine to help fuel greatness on the field, in the gym, or wherever you need to get in the zone, like fantasy football drafts. It also has electrolytes, zero sugar, and comes in 6 delicious flavors ready to light up your taste buds. Find Fast Twitch in the energy drink aisle now.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
Couple of things basketball related that I wanted to talk about locally. The University of Miami is capitalizing on the success that it has had. I don't know Jalil Bethea, a 5-star recruit that they have landed, but it's the greatest recruit. I'm reading that it's the greatest prospect that they've ever had, more than Darius Rice, more than any of these prospects that they have had in their history, that this is the greatest prospect that they've had. And both Mike and I were talking to some people around the program where Wooga has made a leap, where they already have a player who was scared as a freshman to shoot three-pointers, but has now made an amazing leap. I was asking Larinaga last year, have you seen a leap like this from one year to the next? And now people are saying that he's gotten even better than he was. This was a person who was afraid to shoot. They lost against Kansas because in the second half he played for 4 minutes, and at the top of the key, they were daring him to shoot, and he did not want to shoot. Evidently, he must have learned something from the pain of that, because the way they're talking about this kid at the program is something that I have not heard.
My bold prediction for this season is that Baby Food and Nigel Pack aren't going to be recognized as the best player come season's end. Wooga Poplar is going to be a lottery pick. He made a tremendous jump from year to year last year, and it's a testament to Coach L's coaching development. But he made a similar leap this offseason. I was in Europe as the men's basketball team was over in Europe, and people were raving about how he was playing. This is a 3-and-D guy that is going to have a future in the league. And Coach L, outside of the Adidas scandal and injury, because remember, we did have a backcourt once of Bruce Brown and Lonnie Walker that could never stay healthy, and they ended up losing to Loyola on a buzzer beater, and Loyola took Miami's spot in that Final Four that year. This is a team that's gone Elite Eight, Final Four, showing year after year improvement. And now in the NIL age, this market has already shown with the Cavender twins what it can do to one's brand. And Coach L has shown what he can do at George Mason and here, without an Adidas scandal, what he can do. And when we go Poplar, it's with development, and just as a general program builder. And the NIL has stepped up to the plate. I can't tell you all the people that thought the bottom was going to fall out when John Ruiz got into his trouble the first time around. And now what? Top 10 recruiting class in football. Now the best recruit ever in basketball. No one has anything to say. Barry Jackson's not putting up BS tweets that are uneducated about the NIL system here. Kane's Connection has done a great job.
Whoa, why'd you sideswipe Barry Jackson?
Because he was uninformed when he did that. And
media legend.
Hey, I reached out to Barry personally and explained to him how wrong he was, because that's the kind of man I am.
But you just took him out here on...
I think, well, the proof is in the pudding, Dan. They just got a 5-star recruit. I mean, sounding the alarms and saying, oh, Miami is in trouble now without John Ruiz. Same thing that Darren Ravel did. It's uneducated.
Mike, going back to Wooga really quick, you're saying he was an excellent athlete, excellent defender, and all of a sudden now he's got a shot that's better to put him into that lottery pick section?
Yes, he's going to be a lottery pick. He's going to be a lottery pick. Take it to the bank.
Oh, we're all doing this?
No, well, we were. I really wish we would stop doing that.
No, stop. Is every team in this market good? You just got me thinking. UM football, UM basketball. Inter Miami is probably the crappiest team right now, and we have Messi.
What?
We have Bobby Ballsacks, and we're playing for a cup on Wednesday.
Thinking, when you guys were having that conversation about the Marlins not drawing, and I know this is going to give David Sampson a victory, so I don't want to do that, but are the other teams being good hurting the Marlins?
Like, I'm going to the Dolphins game on Sunday. I'm like, I want to go to this home opener. Didn't even think, I should maybe go to the Marlins game this weekend.
Why?
I don't know.
Because it's
just
not
saying.
baseball season anymore. They're inconveniencing everybody with this run.
Is that not also just being a Broward guy getting down to Miami? Like the traffic we were talking about earlier in the local hour? Nice. Like, it's just difficult for you to get there. The same way that Inter Miami fans in Miami are struggling to get up to Broward.
I'm going on Friday.
The only way the Marlins are going to get talked about is if they make the playoffs. Because at any moment, the Miami Heat might trade for Damian Lillard, and there goes any of the minimal coverage.
We are going to talk about that for a second, but Chris Cote is indeed, you have correctly identified this, Jeremy. He is a Broward guy who descends from a long lineage of Broward guys.
I also drive down here every day, so it's
you take a
Bright
train.
line, baby.
Did you go to the Inter Miami match last night?
I couldn't because I had bowling.
How long?
I sold my ticket.
That's a very
What a
Broward guy thing to do,
pathetic
by the way.
Yeah, yes, absolutely is.
Pathetic sentence.
I mentioned earlier before you got here that it took me 110 minutes to drive up to the game, and I'm very envious of you. But I really wish that someone was also at this game, because things like public announce address people, that they don't matter to anyone that doesn't go to the game. Inter Miami, the PA announcer mentioned that he's no longer doing games, and he was fine.
Was that a mutual? What happened there?
I don't know, but the replacement, it felt like they just had a contest inside the office. Hey, who wants to call this? Dude was shook. And they definitely put an emphasis on being bilingual, because there's more of that with this guy. He sounded like a kid who was nervous, and at times he wouldn't even say players' names when they subbed in. He would just say the numbers. He mispronounced people's names, and you see all across the stadium, they've really fixed things up. There's so much pyro. The food has been elevated because Messi came here, and they're supposed to be a standard. And it seems as though all the budget came out of the PA system.
Juju, please put this on the poll. Is it a truly pathetic sentence to say, I couldn't see Messi because I had bowling?
Well, I mean, I got CZ tickets, baby. I sold those bad boys.
I don't get so defensive. I'm just asking the audience whether they believe it to be a pathetic sentence, because you have to understand the way I'm experiencing this. Every time I see you, I see your father, I see you as a child, I see you going to rent dirty bowling shoes from the 1980s that haven't been at a bowling alley that is nearby because you're a Broward guy.
There's only one bowling alley in Miami, by the way. There's 9 in Broward. There's only one in Miami.
That's not true.
That was
not true.
That's what a bowling guy told
There's
me.
only one traditional bowling alley
Bird
in
Bowl.
Miami.
There's Bird Bowl. Name
There's
another
one here on
bowling
the
alley.
beach.
That's the best one.
There's the one here on the beach, Dan, right?
Was there one on the beach?
telling you
used to
there's
be a
one.
Lucky
Yard
Strike.
House.
There
used
was
to be a
one
Lucky
where
Strike.
that only exists for Nevin Shapiro to give an oversized check to Donna Shalala. It's just
it
Bird
just
Bowl.
Bird
R.I.P.
Bowl?
Don Carter's.
Yeah. Man, you really miss Bobby Ballsack back in a brace. You would have loved it.
Splitsville was there too. Now it's gone in Sunset Place.
Couldn't be happier to be there last night. My team is in 4th place out of 32. We are crushing it right now.
More coverage of Chris Cote's bowling team coming up next. Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan. How you liking this football season so far? It's our national obsession, and there's only one thing that can somehow make football better. Think about it. You know what I'm about to tell you. Miller time. That's right, that beautiful white can of just 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving is exactly what you need to supplement your football experience. From kickoff to the clock runs out, you just can't go wrong with Miller Lite right in your hand. It's the only light beer with a taste worthy of football. Because what's the point of having a beer if it doesn't taste like beer? There's so many competitors out there. The market is saturated. But Miller Lite is head and shoulders above everybody else because of that one thing. It's a light beer that tastes like beer. You get all the taste you crave without the calories. Make Miller Time all season long. Make it Miller Time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is brought to you by KFC's new hot and spicy wings. Get fired up this fantasy season with 8 pieces of spicy marinated hand-breaded wings for just $4.99. Are you kidding me? They're a can't-miss call for whatever the fantasy gods throw your way. In the midst of a managerial hot streak, keep it rolling with KFC's new hot and spicy wings. Did you just assemble the worst lineup in fantasy history? Who cares? You can get 8 KFC new hot and spicy wings for $4.99 right now. Marinated in spice, hand-breaded to perfection. KFC's new hot and spicy wings are here. 8 pieces for just $4.99. It's finger-licking good. good.
Don Le Batard. And finally, abstaining from food for 16 to 18 hours a day could be key to treating a variety of health conditions like stabilizing blood sugar levels and increasing resistance to stress.
Stugotz.
Mike, are you doing something like this right now?
I lost a lot of weight doing intermittent fasting and low carb, so now I'm getting back to it.
But how much in that 6 to 8 hour window, how much can you eat? Unlimited?
If I could just eat unlimited, I'd do that. That'd be fun.
For 6 to 8 hours.
You can't eat unlimited.
Try me.
No, I mean...
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Earlier today, Charlotte Wilder of Oddball, you could catch it every day except Monday, oddly. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, she walked into the room, swaggered into the room, and she was accompanied by Mike Ryan playing what she didn't know was her theme music, Tone Loc's Wild Thing. Charlotte, by way of introduction, I am handing over to you, you have to choose wisely here, the ability to choose what we talk about next. And your two topics, you only have two to choose from, are the following. One is things in society that millennials are eradicating because they don't use them anymore, and because young people make everything popular, they are making sure that things that I might have grown up with are not things that endure in the future. What made me think of this actually was bowling alleys and Bird Bowl, because I don't think bowling alleys are going to exist much into the future.
Is this the entire title of the topic?
It's just things that millennials are going to extinguish.
But with bowling alleys and all that preamble?
No, it's just that. It's just that, or, and this is something that Ryan Cortes, our researcher, has sent me. He just titled it, and the reason I did that long, if you would have let me do the setup the way that I would do the show, is good NFL shit. Good NFL shit. He sent me an assortment of good NFL facts that he believes our audience would enjoy hearing. So your choices are things that millennials are going to make either endangered or extinct, or good NFL shit.
All right, Dan. First of all, thank you so much for giving me two choices. When you said I could choose what we talk about, I was seized with paralysis and terrified that I would have to come up with something just on the spot. Secondly, I think Gen Z is now eradicating things, but if it were millennials, I would be the wrong person to ask, because I think I'm actually like a 65-year-old dad in terms of how I live my life. I don't know much, but like weird stuff about, like World War II. So I would like to talk about good NFL shit.
Okay, would you like to talk about World War II?
I had that phase recently. Oh, Pearl Harbor.
I've been Googling. I mean, like, I don't know. I get really into transportation. That's why I was so into the submersible. Been Googling a lot of like cargo planes. Like, what's the biggest plane that's ever flown? And it's this Russian plane called the Andropov something. And like, they can carry so much stuff.
That's because they're a large cargo plane. Yes, you would assume that.
Have you ever seen one take off? Have you ever seen a video of one of those things take off?
I would assume that it's like me trying to parasail.
Okay.
I would like to YouTube this. What is the name of the cargo plane?
Hold on, I gotta Google it.
Guys, be careful. This is early onset Republican.
Russian.
No, biggest plane in the world. Oh no! Oh whoa! What? The Stratolaunch?
You just
okay, no, Dan. I want to talk. I want to talk about good NFL shit.
No, we'll stay here.
Okay. I did this to my. Remember when I just said I didn't want to have to think of something off the top of my head?
Yeah.
Here we are.
Oh boy.
So, here, the 10 biggest planes in the world from BBC Science Focus. So you know it's true. I'm going to agree to the cookies. The Stratolaunch has a wingspan of 117 meters and is the biggest plane ever flown. Oh, here, this is helpful. To put that into some kind of context, the average soccer field is about 105 meters in length.
Wow.
The wingspan is bigger than the average soccer field.
Thank God they put that in sports terms. I wasn't going to be able to understand it.
Video team, because Charlotte has gone off the board, can you please find me video of one of these planes taking off so that we have the video accompaniment that Charlotte is amazed by?
Yes. Also, the plane that I was thinking of, Dan, is the Antonov AN-124, which was a Soviet plane. I think they only made one.
That Antonov plane looks just like Bo Pelini.
Jack Antonoff?
Yeah, the Jack Antonoff plane. plays a lot of
They made
saxophone.
one because what? It was too heavy to be efficient as
Yes,
a flying
it's
thing?
currently the heaviest cargo plane in operation, Dan. It's been delivering cargo around the world for 40 years.
I just pulled up a photo of Bo Pelini. Tell me that plane doesn't look just like Bo Pelini.
Oh my God!
Video team,
Wow.
Can we get Bo Pelini
Oh my
and this
God.
plane right next to one another?
Just to be clear, though,
Yes.
When I asked you which two topics you wanted, you went World War II, and furthermore, the big takeaway was, Dan, are you aware that the largest cargo plane that's ever been built carried a lot of cargo?
Well, I just wanted to be sure. What if you didn't know that?
I'm
It would
so
be
glad.
It would be such a bummer if Dan didn't know.
I'm so glad that Charlotte picked the topic.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the NFL?
Nope, I'm going to the other topic.
Oh, okay.
What? Well, I can't after that. After what she just did, I have to take away the power from her because I'd given it to her. She had not earned
Okay.
it. And then the way that she used it was incorrect.
Okay, then Dan, can we talk about stuff that millennials have killed?
No, I'm going to do. Wait.
I have a
Wow!
See what I tried to do there? See what I tried to do?
Wait a minute. All right, so here's some good
flipped the
NFL
script.
shit. According to Ryan Cortes, this is from Shielkopedia of The Ringer. These are all facts. You guys choose which one you like best. Which is the best of these facts? So far this season, Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is getting rid of the ball on average in 2.35 seconds. It's the shortest time to throw in the league. Yet, his average throw is traveling 10.4 yards downfield, which is tied for highest among starting quarterback. That's basically how you want to play. Don't turn the ball over. Get rid of it quickly. Throw it deep downfield. Since 2000, only the Patriots have had a greater scoring margin than the 2023 Cowboys, plus 60, through the first 2 weeks of the season. Speaking of the Patriots, by the way, I did want to point out just a couple of things. One, they're 2-7 in their last 9 games. They have 2 plays this season of over 20 yards on offense. 2 plays this season. And now you know why Tony Maserati, I'm sorry, is it Maserati or Mazzotti? Whatever. Boston radio guy says Bill Belichick should be fired.
Whatever.
Okay, all right. Charlotte from Southie here. I want to say, first of all, what is going on in Foxborough? This is unacceptable. I agree, Bill. Now I'm from New York. I just want to say
What just happened?
It was so fun to be a Patriots fan.
Wait a minute.
I was trying to do a callback.
Okay, I understand, but the most confident free place that anyone on this show has, short of singing on air, is doing an impersonation. You got into the impersonation. I wanted it, and then you started immediately leaking confidence.
Okay. Well, that's because I immediately started turning into George Costanza.
Do you want to try again? Do you want to do Charlotte from Southie, whatever your analysis is of the Patriots or the point you wanted to make?
At the risk of offending everyone who's ever had a Boston accent, sure.
Yeah, please do that.
Charlotte from Southie here. Belichick, look, it was Brady all along, and we all knew that. You go down to Gillette, I have my starter jacket on, and we'd say, this is Brady, Brady Belichick, greatest duo of all time. What has Belichick done since Brady left? What has Brady done? Oh, won another Super Bowl? Okay. I think it's pretty clear what's going on here, Dan.
It is pretty clear.
It's wicked bad.
It is bad. The Steelers have now gone 37 straight games under offensive coordinator Matt Canada without gaining at least 400 yards. The league's other 31 teams during that span have done that 277 times. In 7 regular season starts with Brock Purdy, going back to last year, the 49ers have scored 30 or more 6 times. The Bears are 0-2 and have been outscored by 28 total points in those losses. That can lead us to a Justin Fields conversation because 2 games in, he's already stepped in it. And the Bucs are 2-0. Baker Mayfield is completing 69.1% of his passes and
Nice.
has been sacked only once, only one time. It is a different game you get to play when people do not hit you.
But when you phrase it like that, clearly the difference is Baker Mayfield's behind a good offensive line. Keep in mind, this was a bad offensive line last year that dealt with a lot of injuries. But if you watch Tampa this year and you watch Baker specifically, he is moving the pocket so much, which is where he had his most success in Cleveland. Get him to roll out, and now that he doesn't have the shoulder injury or the chest injury or all the other injuries that followed that, he's able to put something behind these throws. But a lot of that isn't the protection. A lot of that's Baker Mayfield's very underrated escapability. God, I am so happy he's good again.
2 more quarterback stats for you. From the start of the 2022 season through week 2 of 2023, 34 quarterbacks have had at least 250 dropbacks. Among that sample, the worst in expected points added per pass play, EPA, the worst, Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson ranks 34th in everyone taking snaps since 2022, the way they do the metrics on are you playing well. One more quarterback stat. He does look like the plane does look like Pelini. Yeah. It looks like a cartoon Pelini.
If we put hair on that plane.
That's like, in Cars, like how that's the planes version of college football.
That face, but you would agree, Mike, that what I see on the front of that plane is the cartoon animation of Bo Pelini if he had a giant face and were smiling as a cartoon.
The eyes are the windows and the shadow below it is the mouth.
It's excellent.
They both have the same smirk.
Put that back up for a second. Are Bo Pelini's eyes on a different plane, speaking of planes? Because both of his eyes don't seem to be the same
Yeah, he's got the Ryan Gosling, 2 different sides of a face. Ryan Gosling is handsome on each side of his face, but they're 2 completely different people.
I'd say as a whole he's pretty good looking.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to nitpick.
Of the 630 qualifying quarterback performances since the start of the 2022 season, Jalen Hurts' showing last week against the Vikings ranked 614th in success rate. It was the worst start of Hurts' career by that metric. Which is the best of the good shit stuff that Ryan Cortes sent me?
Well, anytime I hear Matt Canada, it's like, shouldn't he be? What should Matt Canada be? It's like he's not a coordinator. He's like a card shark in Vegas or something.
Americans are so bad with their sports chants. Yeah. If you go to Europe and you got a player named Timo Werner, they'll just sing it to the tune of Just Can't Get Enough by Depeche Mode. But here we've got defense, let's go blank, or fire Canada. Everything has to have that cadence. It's so boring. Can we get better chants?
Yeah. I want to find out what Matt Canada does for a living.
Ref, you suck. Ref, you suck. It's just so boring. It's just so boring.
That name.
Do something to West End girls.
Matt Canada. You think a card shark of some sort?
Yeah. Or maybe like a car mechanic.
Oh. Charlotte, what happened to you?
Hey, it's Roy from the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. U.S. Cellular knows how important your kids' relationship with technology is, and they've made it their mission to help them establish good digital habits early on. That's why they've partnered with Screen Sanity, a nonprofit dedicated to helping kids navigate the digital landscape. And for a smarter start to the school year, U.S. Cellular is offering a free basic phone on new eligible lines, providing an alternative to a smartphone for children. Start smarter with U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to find out more. Terms apply.
Dan Le Batard. Fans cheer that type of stuff. Tom Brady went down with an Achilles the only time he got hurt in his entire career, and I was fist pumping in my living room at home because the Jets finally had a chance to win a division. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that is one of the most amazing sentences you've ever uttered.
Stugotz.
From the maker of Trust Me, Don't Trust Me comes, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to apologize. You are amazing.
Thank you. I know.
You are a flabbergasting delight. You happen upon genius comedy by accident.
That's my gift.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Yes, video team behind me on the giant screen. I would like the cargo plane that Charlotte referenced before to have.
Oh, wow.
That's glorious, man.
Bo Pelini's hair.
It has hair
Hell
now.
yeah.
So thank you for doing that. Keep that back there throughout the entirety of the segment. We will get to Thursday Thunder in a second. There is some stuff with the Chicago quarterbacking situation that I want to get to because the stats are alarming through 2 games. But every Sunday I'm watching an athleticism in football that to me is breathtaking. I'm sure many of you have seen by now. I don't know if it's a drone shot or a camera from above. I don't even know how they got Bijan Robinson of the Falcons, who's an amazing running back. He runs like a cartoon character, did it at Texas. It's a work of art to see him juking Packers defenders in the secondary, and it went viral yesterday because it's beautiful to watch that kind of athleticism when you see people you know are athletes being out-athleted by someone who's just incredibly athletic.
Am I going to sound like an asshole here, Dan? Don't answer that.
Yes.
But I actually had the reaction that you had watching it in slow motion. I had that in real time. I didn't need to see it from above to know how special that runner is.
In Texas, too. At Texas, too, and hopefully he can stay healthy because that position is devalued, and that as an art seems to be gone. I mean, I'm not watching a whole lot of running backs that I used to watch in the 70s, 80s, 90s in the open field, juking people in a way that made it obvious that they were more athletic than the people trying to tackle them.
The injury to Nick Chubb will greatly reduce my enjoyment at a football season this year because I'm not a Browns fan anymore. I just love watching the power and speed, the combination and the elusiveness of that singular guy. Honestly, not enough has been made out of what a dirty hit that was from Minkah Fitzpatrick, ruining my football experience.
He went very low on the knees, and it is to me pretty staggering. I don't know if the audience experiences this, but to see someone who had the body of Ezekiel Elliott in college get so ravaged by running that way, it seems obvious. But to age in a way that the athleticism gets gone because of how it feels to have that many giant, strong people attack the football that way and reduce the position to rubble economically because people cannot survive being hit that way for a sustained period.
And look where Nick Chubb got injured, where he got hit on. If there is one man that has spent his entire offseason preparing for that hit, it would be Nick Chubb from all the videos that we've seen.
One of the things that I was talking about with Katie and Pablo on Pablo Torre Finds Out last week is I really don't believe that the grand majority of people watching sports or even covering sports understand the amount of lifetime science, nutrition, training, medicine, expertise that goes into that wide receiver getting one step on that route on that defensive back who's been training the same way with the same things to make sure that he doesn't get that 1 yard. The science of all of that, because these are all military schools for millionaires, and what's happening out there is more disciplined than your workplace listening to this. Like, you may think athletes are idiots, but their workplace is more disciplined than yours. It demands more from them. And the competitive nature of, I'm going to fight you for dollars for my family, elevates everything to just an insane place. So that every Sunday, what I'm watching in athleticism, I'm awed by. Chris Cote, do you remember on Sunday anything from football? Because it happens to me every Sunday where Flowers is making a move, and I'm like, how did he do that? Or the receivers are doing something. I'm like, how is that possible? These people are so athletic.
I had my friends talking to me about this. I think it was the first series, this Micah Parsons sack where he kind of went around and he goes up the middle, and the sack was impressive in itself, but the most impressive part about it was this crawl that he did after. He crawled what looked like 15 feet with just his arms on, dragging his legs. It was the most impressive thing I saw all Sunday.
Chris, I think about this all the time. I think, like, if I had to run even one route, I would be gassed. Also, they do this with helmets on. Like, I don't think people think
They're
that.
heavy.
Have you ever tried to run with a helmet on your head? I have. I can't. But the thing that amazes me the most is when there'll be this insane play where you're just like, oh my God, that person bent space and time, and then they'll run like another 50 yards in celebration.
Do a backflip.
Yeah. Or like flip like on their back and then flip up that cool way. I'm like, oh my God.
Do we have the video capability and a helmet to make Charlotte run outside with a helmet?
Oh my God.
Do we have the ability to see what that might look like?
Did I ever tell you, Dan, that if I ever write a memoir, the title will be I Did This to Myself?
I don't want a space helmet. We have an astronaut's helmet. Is that okay? Would you be willing? I'd like to get video footage, Charlotte, of you trying to run, preferably with a football helmet. But if it has to be an astronaut's helmet, we'll do that too.
Yeah, I'll do that. I think a football helmet would be, good. Thank God we have one.
We have one.
God.
Okay, what's that, an Army-Navy helmet? Okay, excellent. Thank you for your service, Charlotte.
Yeah, for sure. Do I have to do it right now?
Well, soon, if you don't mind, so
All
that
right.
we could get the payoff.
Okay, great.
Maybe during Thursday Thunder. Maybe get you out there and we'll surround you. We'll put some flares and pyrotechnics on Thursday Thunder, so it also has. We don't have the rights. NFL video is very expensive, so maybe you can recreate some things with a helmet, and that will be our video footage. But what you mentioned, Chris Cote, on Micah Parsons.
The crawling?
The crawling, I don't know if you heard when he was asked about, hey, what do you prefer here, turf or grass? His response was, I'll play on concrete. And I believed him because of things like that.
I will not play on concrete.
Micah Parsons is terrifying. And people like him and Myles Garrett have gotten into an athletic space where they can confidently fool around. And I don't have to do 3-point stance, 4-point stance. I'll just roam out here and be more athletic than you. And you're the center. And even though you think you're good at blocking, there's space here and I'm not blockable.
We need to put TJ Watt in that athletic class. I don't know why he's not, because his brother was. But what TJ Watt does for a defender is similar to what Micah Parsons has been doing, because you could argue, even though they've had complete performances and Pittsburgh has decidedly not, TJ Watt is single-handedly winning games.
As he did last year. And when he went out, they lost the games. I cannot believe that TJ Watt is the best Watt in the family. That's stunning.
What did you say?
You go outside.
Look, I can't even do a show with the helmet on, let alone run. This is going to be a disaster.
It's a pretty killer line. Your comedic timing is great with the helmet on. You're seeing the game well.
Maybe this is my powers. Maybe if I take it off, I won't be funny anymore.
What if you're the greatest quarterback ever because of your vision?
I throw a tight spiral, Mike.
Before we get to Thursday Thunder, let's go through some of this controversy in Chicago, because the stats are pretty damning. And you want at that position, because the position is changing. You have guys who are athletic. Justin Fields, his lower body is remarkably strong. He is a running back in a quarterback's body and runs in a way that's super unusual, runs away from secondary.
Studio team somehow put up a better comparison side by side with Bo Pelini and this cargo plane from Russia, which ironically is, I think it's supporting Ukraine. We put Bo Pelini's hat on. Now we have a side view. I'm telling you, this plane is Bo Planeely, is what they've dubbed it.
Via Ben Solak of The Ringer on Justin Fields, 37% of his pass attempts are at or behind the line of scrimmage. That leads the league. 50% of Fields' pass attempts that are behind the line of scrimmage are completed. That's the worst in the league. It's also a very frustrating brand of football to watch if the comp is what Tua is doing. Get it out in 2.5 seconds, throw it 10 yards downfield. It is when you have a bad offense, a constipated offense, a quarterback who's not quite ready, who doesn't have confidence. What happens? Check down, bubble screen. An offensive coordinator that doesn't have confidence in the quarterback or the offensive line. That's what all that looks like. And when it looks like that, you start 0-2 and you get into the verbal controversy that happens around microphones.
When you say thinking less, what do you think was causing you to think so much, maybe think too much?
Could be, coaching, I think. But, at the end of the day, it makes it, they're doing their job when they're giving me, what to look at and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I, can't be thinking about that when the game comes. I prepare myself throughout the week, and then when the game comes, it's time to play free at that point. So, just thinking less and, playing more.
Hey, Justin, we've heard this before from other athletes. There are just too many, coaching voices in your head at this point that you're trying to process so much. Is that part of what you're saying?
I don't think it's too many coaching voices, but I just think when, you're fed a lot of information at a point in time and you're trying to think about that info, like when you're playing, it's like it doesn't let you play like yourself. You're trying to process so much information to where it's like, if I just simplified in my mind, I would have did this. Like, I saw a few plays on Sunday to where if I was playing like my old self, like, we would have had a positive play. Like, there would have been, a few more third down conversions. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is just, playing the game how, I know how to play it, how I've been playing it my whole life. So that's what I got to get back to doing.
That was a part of a pretty insightful post-game presser from Justin Fields, and it is frustrating.
The last one he'll do, by the way, that's
yeah.
insightful.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a second. But watching Justin Fields has been especially frustrating because it's off to a similar start as last year was, and we thought we figured it out with Justin Fields. Have him run a lot, and we understand that there's a risk when it comes to his health. Have him throw deep, and everything's been underneath by the metrics that you just brought up. It's been a frustrating experience to watch him. So he gave this insightful answer. And as you mentioned, it'll probably be the last time because that stuff gets aggregated. Headlines are headlines. And you can tell by this reaction that he had towards the media that it became a locker room issue for Justin Fields.
You guys' jobs are to get clicks. So it's like, when you take my quote out of context and when you just say that, if you paint the picture on the inside out, like, y'all are trying to split us up as a city. I'm not blaming anything on the coaches. I'm never going to blame anything on the coaches, never going to blame anything on my teammates. I will take whatever happens in the game, I will take all the blame. I don't care if it's a drop pass, it should have been a pass. Put it on me. But never will you hear anything come out of my mouth to where I will blame it on somebody else in this organization, my teammates, never will you hear that. So I just want to clear that up and just know that, like, I need to play better. That's it, point blank. If y'all, that's what I should have said in the first place. But I was trying to give y'all more details because I appreciate y'all for doing what y'all do, and I try to give y'all the information y'all want for you guys' job. So I'm gonna do that, and in the future, but I ask you guys just to put the whole quote out. Don't cut it up into words and pieces to make it seem like I'm saying something that I'm not. So again, appreciate you guys what you do, and y'all have a pleasure. That's it.
What was taken out of context? Like, if anything, I think we can criticize the media did pounce on, he just said a thing. Let's follow up and get him to dig himself a deeper hole. That was the part that made me feel uncomfortable. But the quote is the quote. I don't see what was taken out of context.
I did. I feel like I saw a bunch of headlines that were like, Justin Fields says he's overcoached. Justin Fields blames coaching. Justin Fields says, wait till you see what he does on his own. Like, I saw a bunch of weird stuff where I was like, what was this press? And then I watched it and I was like, I don't know that that's what he's saying. But before I saw that, I was like, man, why would you even say that? Just go out there and play. Like, don't set yourself up for that. And then you watch it, it's like, he literally said, no, I don't think it's too many coaches.
Why would you be honest, young man?
Yeah.
Just because all he's saying, think about what's happening back there. Just the pressure of what we're talking about. You've already heard it's gotten to Brandon Staley. Young man has had success all of his life. And now on the other side of the ball is someone who looks and behaves like Micah Parsons. And he's getting there very fast. People like him are all over the field. And also, it's the hardest position in sports. And also, your coaches are giving you a lot of information. And you're saying, I need to play free. I need to not be thinking. This all has to be second nature to me. I just have to be better than the guy who's opposite me without thinking. It has to be muscle memory. That's where real confidence is. And yet, he's honest that way. He tells us, takes us inside the helmet for a second, and we are piranha.
What he's really saying there, it's really simple. What he's saying is, guys, this is a lot.
Yeah.
This is not easy.
That's correct. That is what he's saying. That is, but then the headline would be, quarterbacking too much for Fields.
I do have some bad news for him, though, about when he was like, can you guys just please take everything? I'm like, that's so sweet and sad and depressing.
Yes.
Like, oh, poor guy.
Please be.
I have some news for you.
But he does need to get out of the pocket, okay? He's sitting there for 6 seconds. Just, you got to have a clock in your head.
please be gentle with me media is not a request that is going to be adhered to. It is sweet, though. You're right. Charlotte, that is the right reaction. You're surrounded by a scrum of piranha, and you're saying, be gentle with those teeth.
I know. I'm like, and he's not. He's like, all I ask of you is, can you just please not take stuff out of context? I'm like, I have some bad news for you, Justin.
Sorry, kid.